Hey guys, Joseph Henson here with Henson CPA Group. We've been talking about a lot of cash flow. We've been talking about forecasting. We've been talking about planning the last few weeks, months, 2 months. And this week, we're going to talk about profit leaks, small operational issues costing you big, how hidden inefficiencies drain revenue from your veterinary clinic. Again, I'm Joseph Henson, CPA with Henson CPA Group, and I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. So, what are profit leaks? Small, overlooked inefficiencies that slowly drain profit. It's pretty self explanatory. So, these are small things that you're doing in your business that are draining the profit from it. These can be from, hey, that daily coffee that you want to do. These can be just those little knickknacks around the office. They're often not obvious day to day, but add up significantly. If you are just spending $20 here or there to treat your employees to a lunch because, hey, it's been really busy lately, that's not a big deal. If you do that day after day after day, week after week after week, these small little inefficiencies will really add up. So the goal of this is to learn to spot and plug leaks before they damage your bottom line. This is one of the largest things you can do within your business is figure out how to stop your business from just leaking profit everywhere. Why do these matter? They matter because margins in veterinary practices are already tight. You're not working off of a 40% margin. You're working off a 10 to 15 to 20% margin. Even small leaks will compound over time. If you're paying for Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, add in another music thing. It's like, hey, it's not a big deal. It's $15 here or there. It's $9. Over time, though, that $10 a month is $120. That $15 a month is $180. You're up to $280 already. And just these little things incrementally will actually reduce your profit margin. Every dollar wasted is less for staffing, growth, and owner pay. Common operational profit leaks. These are mixed charges or unbilled services. So you're not charging folks who have a payment on file. You're forgetting to bill for services until much later, where your likelihood of collecting isn't going to happen. What does this look like? Well, you say, hey, we're really busy right now. Give me just a few minutes. I'll go ahead and get you charged. The patient leaves with their pet and they don't pay you. And you forget because it's not happening right then and there. One of those happening is going to constantly take away from your profit. Inventory waste and shrinkage. What does this mean? You aren't using the inventory like you're supposed to. You are buying too much because, hey, I got a great deal on this, but you have too much going to waste as well. You can't afford to constantly have this on hand where you waste it, and it kind of brings shrinkage as well. Inefficient scheduling is going to lead to unused appointment slots. So you're not looking at blocks of time. You're like, I have this patient I'm going to see here. I have another one an hour later. I don't have anything in this 45-minute slot. Most appointments on average are taking 10 to 15 minutes. You should be able to get 4 or so appointments, 3-4 appointments per hour for a single veterinarian, assuming it's not something majorly complex like a surgery. If you're not utilizing software to help you plan for this and better manage when people are coming in and the flow, sometimes you might be extremely busy, while other times you're actually going to be hurting yourself because you're leaving room here that your employees are just sitting there without actually doing any work. And that's just costing you money. Excessive overtime or poor staffing ratios. Kind of like I just said, you're not planning well. If you have an employee making $20 an hour and they're on overtime because, hey, I don't have another vet tech. Great. Now that employee is costing you $30 an hour. These little inefficiencies are hurting you. And poor staffing ratios, you have too many employees for one doctor. Instead of 2.5 employees for a doctor on call, you have 3 employees, you have 4 employees. It's costing you because they're not all needed at that time, and they're going to start draining money from the business. Vendor overpayments or auto renewals not being reviewed. You should be reviewing these every single year. You need to make sure that if you're billed for $1,000 from NWI, that's what they actually sent you. Did you pay them too much? You didn't realize, hey, I'm actually within their 210 net 30 or what? You want to make sure that what you're paying them is what you actually should be. And any auto renewals, you need to make sure those are being reviewed yearly before they come up to see if potentially there's even room for negotiations. The cost of missed charges. Like I just said, if it's a 1 week and you're missing $120 for a charge, over a month, that $120 is $480. In a year, that's $6,000. That's huge. I don't know about you. I want an extra 6 grand in my pocket. So you want to look at that. These little $100 here, $100 there add up. Even if it's $10 a day, 5 days a week, that's $50 a week, $200 a month. You're at $2,400 a year. Missing those little charges. Hey, I forgot to charge them for the medication when they went home. That was 20 bucks. Well, you forgot that and you did it multiple times. It's adding up time after time after time, compounding. Inventory inefficiencies. Overstocking your inventory will tie up cash. You don't want, there's different methods to inventory. One is just in time. One is going to be, you want to stockpile it. You need something within a good range. You don't want to ever be just in time where, hey, I'm going to run out tomorrow. I need it here tomorrow, or I'm going to have patients not getting what they need. You want to make sure that you have inventory on hand, but not so much that you're wasting inventory. A lot of medication can expire, as you know better than I do. And having too much of that on hand can cost you thousands of dollars a year. Expired medicine is just wasted money. Every time you throw away those medications, you are flushing thousands of dollars down the drain. And speaking on that, a lack of controls, internal controls within your clinic can lead to theft and shrinkage, especially if you're dealing with narcotics. If you're dealing with narcotics in your clinic, you need to make sure you have very tight controls on this. This can lead to extensive penalties with the government if you don't. What is the solution? Track turnover rates, set your reorder points, and regularly audit your medications on hand. What does that mean? Track how often your inventory is turning over. You want to make sure that if you get less than 10% of your medication on hand, say you have 100 orders of X, when you get to 1/10 of that, you need to make sure you're reordering. And this can be an alert built in your system. A lot of systems will handle this, even if that's an external system that's plugging in. That way, you know when you need to reorder. And then do regular audits. I would suggest monthly, if not quarterly, just to make sure that the inventory on hand matches what's in the inventory in your system. Time and scheduling gaps. We've talked about this before. It's one of those areas where having your staff that you pay $100,000 a year idle for even 10% of the time costs you 10 grand. If you're not using an automatic reminder or utilizing your staff to call folks and remind them of their appointment coming up, and you have a 20% cancellation ratio and $100,000 typically, that's $20,000 you're missing out on. So now, if you only do $100,000 a year in revenue, you have 10% of that's idle and 20% in cancellations, you're down to $70,000. You really need to be looking at this because even filling half of this gap can add thousands of dollars in revenue annually. Staffing inefficiencies. Too much overtime is going to increase your payroll cost. The cost you pay your employee isn't just their negotiated salary. You also have time off. You have sick time. You have 401k potentially. It's always adding your employment taxes. You add so much. You have the full cost of being employed, which is probably somewhere around 125% of their typical salary. So if they make $10 an hour, it's going to be 125% of that. Understaffing is going to be lost revenue opportunities. If you don't have enough staff on hand to handle the patient workload and folks start getting annoyed, they're not going to come back. This is a really fine line here between understaffing and overstaffing, and it takes some fine tuning sometimes. And then consider cross-training and reviewing labor as a percentage of revenue. So cross-training, make sure that your receptionist can also help sometimes with just cleaning. Make sure your vet tech is willing to make some calls while you're slow. These are areas that it's great to cross-train on. Review your labor as a percentage of revenue, because if you're at a 70% labor ratio as a percentage of revenue, you make $100,000, you pay $70,000 in labor, that's 70%, you're way out of your KPI, your key performance index. You need to make sure, indicator, not index. You need to make sure you are keeping that within the margin that it should be. Plugging the leaks. These are some of the things you need to be looking at constantly. You need to track and audit consistently, whether that's monthly or quarterly. You can't do this just yearly. You need to be looking at this at a minimum quarterly to see what is recurring, what is going on, if there's any spikes, if there's any valleys. You want to look for all of this. Use your financial statements to spot patterns. You're way too big at this time to be doing this with an Excel sheet. You need a more robust system, whether that's QuickBooks Online or if that's Sage, if that's Zero, whatever it is, you need to look at your financial statements to spot patterns. If you notice that your revenue is dropping consistently month over month over month, even though your appointment setting has been higher month after month after month, let's look for why. Compare your KPIs, your key performance indicators. You need to look at the revenue per appointment, your inventory turnover, and your labor percentage. These are three of the most important KPIs for your veterinary clinic. What's that look like? Well, you want your revenue per appointment to be reasonable. $200, $225 per appointment. What's that look like? Hey, we're averaging $200. We see $100 or 100 people every single month. What's that look like? Where's our revenue? And then small fixes will add up to big savings. Even getting rid of a couple of subscriptions that are no longer utilized, underutilized, finding one that can replace a few of them for less. These are things you can look at. Do you want help finding the profit leaks in your clinic? We help veterinary clinics just like you uncover hidden inefficiencies and strengthen profit margins. Feel free to reach out to Henson CPA Group. Our website is hensoncpagroup.com. My email is Joseph with 2 E's at hensoncpagroup.com. I appreciate you guys coming. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.